commandments. Why? Man can't tell me nothing about this coke. Can't tell me nothing about this crack, this weed.
What's up, guys? I wanted to come on here real quick and talk about why I think carrying a stock Glock is pretty much your best bet when it comes to EDC. This gun is clear, by the way, just checking. So we got a stock 26 over here, which I haven't done anything to except change the sights over here to night sights. These are Ameriglows, and as you can see, trigger stock, barrel stock, whole gun stock. So I think this is the ideal way to carry if you're strictly using it for self-defense, you know, so no range, you know, no upgrading for range time, none of that, just strictly self-defense. You know, I know that when I hit the trigger in this gun, that it's gonna go bang. So I think this is one of the best EDCs. And as of lately, a lot of people have been getting on the 26 train only because the frame's gonna come out, which is the 19 grip style. But I like it like this, you know, because if you have a 19, that's already good enough. But, you know, if you want, you know, to be fancy and add a little bit of a longer grip to your 26, that's good too. But this gun right here is just made for concealed carry, like deep concealment, because as you can see, it's like a chopped off 19, so it doesn't print at all, which I really like, because when I'm on the run, sometimes I don't really want to, you know, carry a full setup like this gun. So I, you know, just put this bad boy on and I go to it. So really like this 26. I think it's better than carrying something that is super modded up. Now these guns right here, my 19 in particular, is a little bit more modded up in terms of only attachments. So trigger stock, the barrel's also stock. It's from a 19X, but still from Glock. The sights, the iron sights are upgraded, which is fine because it's not messing with anything internal. Everything in this gun is stock. Just the Holson, the Surefire, and that's pretty much it. And the sights is non-Glock. But other than that, by the way, this one is clear as well. Everything here is stock. So every time I'm leaving the house, I always grab, you know, my Glock 19, you know, because I feel like this gun's literally the best gun you can get for concealed carry. And like I said, when it comes to concealed carry, you don't want to be changing the triggers or messing with the connectors or, you know, changing anything in the firearm, because now you're going to mess with the way it functions. You know, even if you get a lighter trigger pull, which some people love, I just don't trust it when it comes to concealed carry. I don't really like messing with triggers like that. And that's why I keep my gun stock. You know, like I said, 26 also stock, 19 stock. The only thing I added was just external stuff, you know, nothing that's gonna mess with the performance or reliability. If I take everything off this gun, it's gonna shoot exactly like a 19 would shoot out the box. So I think this is best, you know, because when you carry for self-defense, you don't want to be ever questioning if your gun's gonna, if it's gonna work, if you ever needed to use it. You know, you want to make sure that trigger goes bang and the gun shoots every time. So I did add this grip. This is I believe it was Hogue. Yeah, Hogue grips. So got it from Amazon. It was like 15 bucks, and they give me a whole roll, and I really like it because it just adds more texture to that grip. It doesn't slip every time, even just holding it with one hand. I don't feel like my pinky's sliding off the frame. All right, guys, real quick, I want to show you this Anya safe that they just sent me. It's a brand new release that they just made. So I think it was pretty cool. You know, it's a unique design. You get to put two mags over here, just like this. So the way it works is you grab your gun, make sure you're nice and empty. Literally just put the gun right in, and then you're going to hit lock. So now the gun is locked. You can't go anywhere. The way it works is that when you press the lock, there's two little like metal hooks that hang onto the trigger guard, and it locks it in place. So there's no way it's gonna come out. There's no way somebody can just come and pull your gun right out. The only way for you to take the gun out is by putting your fingerprint on locks, or I'll show you guys over here what happens when you press the lock. So those two little hooks right there, hang right onto the trigger guard. So there's no way it's gonna be moving, or like I said, nobody's gonna be trying to taking your gun out. So you open it by fingerprint, or you can open it manually. There you go, unlocks. Lock it again, fingerprint, unlocks easy. So very, very unique little safe. This is more of a one that you're gonna mount like under a table. Right here, you get your little mounting holes. It does come with screws, so you're able to screw wherever you want to mount it to. And you know, like I said, it's designed for like a wall or under a desk, or even in your truck. It probably could work in your truck too if you mount it on really nice. So very unique design, feels very good quality. Um, I definitely recommend it. I like this one way more than the other one, only because it's nice and sleek, and you know nobody's ever gonna suspect that you're gonna have a gun under a table. You know, it's not really common for people to really do that. At least I think so. I think it's a very good design. You guys should try it out. I'm gonna put my link in my bio with my discount code, and you guys will get 20% off. So if you're interested in this product, go check them out. And back to the video, guys. Which I really like, because I don't want to keep having to readjust my grip every time I'm shooting. But other than that, this is my main go-to, and I've been carrying my 19 clone as well, which I'm kind of stepping away from right now because, to a degree that gun is modded, because I changed the recoil spring with Radian. Even though Radian makes quality parts, it's still modded. It has a port, and like, it hasn't caused any issues as of lately, but I just feel safer and better just carrying a stock 19. So I've been just taking this one out a lot more now, and I've been training with the other one, the Glock 19 clone. I've been training with it a lot more, but it's kind of still the same thing as this 19. They both shoot very similar. The other one has an advantage, maybe by a bit, but they both shoot relatively the same. So this is the 19, like I said, 19 stock. And then over here, we got my 45. This one's also clear. So this 45 is different because I changed the trigger, I changed the spring, I changed the guide rod, and obviously it has the Radian ramjet on this one. Now this one I don't carry for those purposes that I just mentioned, is because I modded everything up. The internals are different, slide stop's different. Slide stop is still a OEM Glock, but like I said, it's modded, so it's not it's still reliable. I never really had issues with this setup, but if something were to go down, like the gun I'd be grabbing is this one, because I know this one's gonna go bang every single time. This one also goes bang, but I messed with the internals. So for performance, my build for this was performance driven. It wasn't concealed carry driven. So that's why it's set up the way it is. It shoots very good. This is my best shooting gun. Pretty much best shooting gun after everything that I shot. This one never failed me, honestly. So I really like this gun and the setup. But like I said, it's performance driven. It's not for concealed carry. So that's why I did it to this gun. And that's why I don't really carry this gun. Even though it's my favorite, it's my best shooting handgun, I don't really carry it like that. Very rarely do I take it out, maybe one time, but it's not my main go-to. So I think when modding guns, for concealed carry, you should really, be careful what you're messing with. And to be on the safe side, just carry a stock gun. Even just taking this off and this off is perfectly fine, just like that. With no attachments, just a plain Glock. It's perfect. Just like this 26. I carry this 26, and it feels comfortable. I know I have a gun that works. I know I have a gun that's not gonna fail, and I'm good to go. Some people just like overdoing it, over modding stuff, just trying to make it better, and I get it, because I've done it too. But there comes to a point where you're just messing with the gun's reliability, and you're not gonna know if the trigger is actually gonna work where you need it to, or if something's gonna break internally. So just modding it a little bit for performance. If you want to mod one like I did for performance, have it for performance, and then your other, setups, have it for, home self-defense or on body concealed carry, whatever. But it's funny too, because I was noticing today, I was thinking about all these new guns that I've shot, like the CZ Nocturne, the M&P carry comps, what else have I got? The Canic Primes, the CZ Shadows, pretty much all the new releases that everybody said was like Glock killers. I've noticed that all those faded away now. Like, I don't really see people talking about them. I don't see people carrying those guns. When they came out, they were like big, they were like hot shot because they just came out and everybody was talking about it. Everybody was saying these are the best new guns, for concealed carry or this or that or that. But now I don't see, like, when I hop on YouTube, I don't see anybody mentioning those guns or even talking about those guns anymore. But you know what I do see? I see Glock still. And Glock is still plain old Glock, But every time I open my YouTube or my feed or, to watch videos, there's always somebody buying a new Glock. There's always somebody, modding a Glock. And these other guns that, supposedly are better, they're not. All right, my bad, guys. Got a little cut off there, but got my normal setup back. So anyways, like I was saying, I don't really see people talking about those new guns that came out anymore. So everybody's always talking about Glock never reinvents the wheel, how they don't do something different, but what works. So that's why people always have a Glock in their arsenal, or they shot a Glock, and even though people don't like it because it's polymer and it's just plain, it's simple, it works, and we like stuff that works. So like I said, this gun over here, I've been carrying two here and there, but it is modded, so that's why I've been just transitioning back to carrying a stock configuration. So very good gun, hasn't failed me either. Ever since I put the OEM trigger back in here, the gun is running super smooth, and it does have a 15-pound radian compressor in there, as you can see, and guide rod. So it's been running good. It is a little bit wiggly with the slide, which I don't really like. I don't really like that, but it hasn't really caused any issues as of now. So it's still relatively new. I need to keep shooting this gun just to make sure it's really good, but still a good setup. But hey guys, like I was saying, carrying in stock configuration is just the best way you can go. So I wouldn't mod a gun up so much and then act like it's never gonna fail. Even the performance trigger on this G45, I've heard stories that people have gotten it stuck, like the trigger doesn't reset, or like it starts getting super mushy. But this trigger, as it is right now, has gotten used a lot, and it's super crisp as of now. And every time I come home from the range, I take the gun apart, I lube up the trigger mechanism, and I just make sure everything's running nice and smooth. I don't let my guns get like super gunked up, like most people do, especially with Glocks. A lot of people don't really clean their Glocks as often, but I like to just maintain my guns and make sure they're always good, make sure they're always clean, and I don't gotta be worrying about them malfunctioning or having issues. But at the end of the day, a gun is still, it's a tool, and the more you use the tool, you're gonna have to replace parts eventually. So even like cars, Honda Civics, they're pretty reliable, but eventually, if you drive them forever, they're gonna need parts, and that's with everything. But the only thing with Glocks is it takes longer for that to happen. So I know this gun is probably gonna last me years until I need to replace a part in it, depending on how much I shoot it and stuff. But I know it's not gonna be as quick as like the other gun that I shoot a lot to replace parts and all that. So super good setup right here. I love this gun. Like I said, my 19, it's our most trusted gun, only because it's stock configuration, and it's You know, it's a duty working gun. You know, it's good. I also put some grip over here just to help, you know, with the recoil. But you know, it's still stock and it works. You know, what works works. And I do have a Walther PDP, just kind of laying around. You know, I don't really care use that gun too much. The dynamic trigger that it has on it, the other day I was shooting it and it started like heating up because the trigger on the PDP is metal, and I was shooting like 600 700 rounds through it, and it came to the point where I couldn't even press the trigger because it was just so hot. It was like steaming hot. It felt like the top of the slide. As you guys know, when you shoot, top of the slide always gets super burning hot, but that trigger on the PDP, it was just steaming, you know, and it was hard to keep shooting without gloves at least. So and in terms of carrying the Walther PDP, it's not the most comfortable gun to carry, only because it's super thick. You know, it's a thick gun. The slide is thick. The PDP slide ends up like right here, and I noticed when I grip that gun, you see over here, there's no gap in the beaver tail, between the beaver tail and my hand over here, and the PDP is kind of like a little space that gets left right here. And every time I shoot, it kind of like bounces off of that piece of the hand. So the ergos on the PDP, for me at least, is probably not really the best, just because I can't really get super tight and high on that pistol. So it's a good shooting gun. I mean, the trigger feels really nice, you know. At least when you start shooting it, it feels really nice, super crisp. But the more you shoot that gun, it's just uncomfortable. Like, I didn't really like it. And when it comes to doing quick shots with that gun, it's kind of hard to, you know, get the same shots on point with the PDP, only because it just snaps a lot, you know. And like I said, it's an all right gun. You know, it's an all right gun. Is it better than a stock 19? It's not. So that's just my opinion. Like, my my experience with both pistols, but it's not better than a 19, and definitely doesn't have the track record of a 19. So I like my Glocks, man. You know, if I'm thinking of getting another Glock, it's either probably gonna be a 19X or a 47, but I gotta see, because I've been looking for the 47 Colt for a while now, and I did find one about like 3 months ago, and it was a 10 round, and I was just thinking about it, and I didn't press the trigger on it, and you know, ended up getting sold, and now I can't find them anywhere. But it's all good. You know, I have my my 3 Glocks over here that I really like. You know, these all have a purpose for me. You know, these 2 primarily being my concealed carries, this one being my fun range one. And you know, I love my configurations right now. I got nothing bad to say about these Glocks. My 43X that I used to have, I traded that one in for my PDP, which I'm kind of regretting now, because they came out with the rating ramjet for that one, and I would have liked to try that, but I don't really feel like buying another 43X and setting it all up again just to try out the rating ramjet. So I'm probably not going to be getting that one anymore. It's either the 19X or the 47. But right now, if all I had was these 3 guns, you know, I'll be fine with that too. And then my AR-15 over here by Radical is also a great AR option. You know, budget friendly, but they're good guns. You know, they're guns that work, and that's all you really need to ask for, right? When you're buying a gun and carrying a gun, is having a gun that works. So, but yeah, guys, other than that, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to come on here and talk about like modding guns and carrying them, and why I feel like keeping a stock gun is overall better, you know. And for me, like, I consider this stock in terms of the internals. Like I said, like, obviously the external stuff, there's stuff on it, but in terms of the way the gun works, the way it runs, it's completely stock. So that's the best option for me, at least. And probably, you know, once you guys hear this and kind of hear my side of it, and why I think you should carry a stock configuration instead of a fully modded gun internally, is best, I think you guys would probably change your mind, or just probably, like, you know, invest in another stock gun. So, and I've been hearing Bobby Dynamite. I like his channel a lot. He's been talking about how he's just been carrying his stock 19, and you know, he has nothing on it. It's just a plain Glock with I think he upgraded the sights, but it's a super stock gun, and you know, it looks good and it works. So that's all you really need. At the end of the day, what more can you ask for? You just want a gun that is gonna run. You know, if something ever happened, you want to have something on you. You don't want to be, you know, like looking for something to defend yourself with. You want to pull out a gun and know that it's gonna do its job. You don't want to second guess anything. So like I said, that, and then just talking about the new guns that came out, you know, 2024, 2025, all those new guns that were the new hot stuff, I feel like they all faded. You know, I don't hear nobody carrying CZ Nocturne. I don't hear nobody carrying MMP carry comp like that. You know, yeah, I don't really hear it. I mean, maybe you guys do, but I really don't. All I really hear people carrying right now is a Glock or MMP 2.0, like the original one, not even the carry comp. So, and then now I've seen today I went to Shields and I've seen a bunch of SIGs on the, you know, the resells that people traded their gun in. Seen a bunch of 320s in the shelves, and I'm kind of surprised, you know, Shields is taking it from them. But yeah, there was a bunch of them. I think I counted like about 8 to 10 320s, and I've never seen that many in my life. Like, they're just in one spot for reselling. So that's how you know everybody's stepping away from the SIG platform, which, you know, I've been kind of on that train for a while. Like, I already knew SIGs were trash. That's why I never had a SIG on this channel, because I know those guns are trash. Like, even just grabbing the slide of a SIG and pulling it, like racking it, it feels cheap. It feels like a toy. It's like a squeaky sound that it makes. It's like I don't know. Glocks can't do it, but with a SIG, it's like a cheap sound, and it just feels like it's not quality. So I don't like that. You know, when you have a gun for carrying, you want a quality gun. And the Glocks, you know, they're fairly inexpensive and they're quality guns. So, and for carrying too, you don't want something super heavy. You want something that's, you know, polymer, a little bit lighter, and still as reliable as you know, as one of these maybe full metal guns. So for me, it's Glock, guys. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be getting any new releases, any new guns like that anymore, because I already found a platform that I like, which is my Glocks. And every time I try to replace it or try to find the new best thing, it just, you know, I always go back to the 19. It always happens, because the other gun ends up having a problem, or, you know, I end up not liking it because I shoot it consistently, and then something I just don't like it, you know. So I just found that, you know, Glock is my platform, and when a Gen 6 comes out, I'm definitely getting a Gen 6, because I know I'm going to keep that gun. So when I first started my channel, I had these two guns and different configurations. You know, I didn't have the gray coating on here, and I didn't have the midnight purple on here. They were just both black. They had different attachments, but as time went by and my channel progressed and stuff like that, I just started knowing more about guns. Now I put like quality parts on my guns. So, and this is the configurations I like. You know, when I started my channel, it was these two, and then my Glock 47, which to this day I regret selling. I don't know why I sold that gun. I think I sold it for I forgot why I sold it. Yeah, I forgot why I sold it. But anyways, if I could go back in time, I'd keep that 47 and have my 47, 45, 19, 26, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like those are the best Glock models out there. The 45, 47, 19, 26 is the perfect four that you can have, and maybe the 43X as well, just for another concealed carry gun. But those four models are pretty much the best in my opinion. But yeah, guys, just want to come on here, just talk about that, maybe give you guys a different type of perspective, you know, in carrying your pistol, you know, stock versus modded, and why I think it's better. You know, I would never carry a gun that's fully modded and the internals are completely different, and change springs, you know, change recoil assemblies, all that. I don't want to mess with any of that. So 19 stock over here is what I'll be carrying pretty much forever. And of course, you know, changing it with another Glock depending where I'm going, or if I could carry or not there. But this is the gun to to go to. So there you go, guys. Hope you guys liked my little rant real quick, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.